Well, when I was about, I'd say 13, I got roped into doing the washing up at the restaurant, basically my parents' restaurant, and from then on you kind of just move on to just doing it. Well, actually, funny enough, the first thing I learned to make was fried rice. So the things that you'll need: spring onions, rice, obviously, the staple of any Chinese person's diet, some eggs, soy sauce, light and dark, sesame oil, frying oil. Here I'm using peanuts oil, but you can use vegetable oil too. Knife and chopping board, some chopsticks, rice cooker. If you haven't got a rice cooker, don't worry about it. Saucepan and the lid is fine, and a wok and a spatula. So they're the things that you need to make fried rice. So let's get started. Amount of rice per person is usually about half a cup. Okay, so there we go, half a cup of rice. Right, and so it goes. Next, what you have to do is rinse this rice under cold water. This will take probably about 3 fillings and emptyings of water before this happens. And I mean, as you can kind of see, it's kind of murky from the starch of the rice, so this is just really what we're getting rid of. So there's one go, and just fill it up again and do the same thing. It's important to do this because it just takes the stodginess out of it. Start seeing through it now, it's getting clearer. So I'd say that's about done now. So next of all, we have to decide how much water we want. Numerically, this is 1 to 1.2. That is 1 cup of rice to 1.2 cups of water. So we've had half a cup put in there, so we want half a cup of water again. Okay, half a cup. Again, using the trusty elephant half cup with 1.2, so I guess the easiest way is to go, right, that's half, pour half of that away, and go, that's 0.25, actually that probably looks about 0.2, in fact maybe even about 0.18. It's gone up to about 0.37 now. There you go, that's about right. Anyway, next thing you need to do is just wipe the bottom of the rice cooking pan, like so, and then just stick it on. And what that button does, if you're basically if you're using a saucepan method or the saucepan method, what you do is do what we've just done, exactly the same, but when you put it onto the stove, you put it onto the highest heat, bring it to the boil, and then when it comes to the boil, turn it right down to its lowest setting, and then let it simmer with the lid on. Okay, essentially what that button does is that basically it cooks itself. Now we'll make use of our time by cutting the spring onions and whipping the egg. And all you do is just chop them up fairly small like that. But if you like them chunkier, make them bigger. There you go. And what will happen is we'll save a little bit for towards the end of the frying process and keep this bit for the beginning. You'll see what I mean when I start frying the rice. I normally go for 1 egg per person. It is, after all, egg fried rice, so. And all you do is just get your chopsticks or your fork or whatever and just whip it up. Don't have to be too thorough, just something like that. Right, this has just clicked off now. So what I tend to do first of all is I just loosen it up and use a fork. I favour the chopstick, and just kind of run it through the rice just to loosen it up. You can see that it's mostly cooked, but there's still kind of a glisten of residual water. So we'll just leave that to stand for another 5 minutes or so. That's 5 minutes past now, so let's just check the rice. It should be okay now to dish out onto a plate and switch it off. Ow. Get a tea towel. This is hot. And then just scoop it out onto the dish, plate, and then just let it stand for another, usually takes at least about half an hour. If you give it an hour, it'll definitely do it, but about half an hour is fine. And it'll cool down and just dry out a bit more, and be in more of a state to be fried as well. So that's been half an hour now, so I think that should be ready. So what we need to do now is get the wok nice and hot. Oh, that's the wrong one. There you go. And that'll take probably about a minute or so to get hot. You'll know when it gets hot, when it sort of kind of starts to steam, and well, you'll be able to see in a minute. So just get the rice, make sure it's loosened up. Got everything ordered. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that we'll need salt as well. Okay, what's my train of thought now?
Put the rice in the pan.
Right, yeah. Oh yeah, I know where we are now. Basically, it's hot enough now, so what you need to do is first of all add the oil. I'd say probably about half a tablespoonful, and just like really get it around the wok so that you've got the whole wok kind of lubricated, I guess, with the oil. And take it off a bit if it's steaming like that, because you know it's getting probably a little bit too hot. The first thing I'm going to put in is the, as we mentioned earlier, the kind of white, more bulby, fleshy part of the spring onion. Okay, now we're going to put a bit of the egg in now. It kind of depends. Some people like putting the egg in at the beginning, some people like putting in after the rice. I'm going to kind of do a bit of both, really. If you put it in at the beginning, just slightly scramble it like that, what you find is that you'll get more kind of separated strandy bits with the rice. Alright, well now we'll add the rice now because that's quite scrambled. Just put that in there, like that. And just keep giving it stirring it like that. And sort of like jabbing at it and just squashing it to get rid of the big lumps, so that it all kind of, you know, ideally they're all rice grains are separated, but you don't have to go that far really. We'll take it off the heat if it gets a bit hot, we'll just turn it down. So just keep doing that, and if you're feeling ambitious, you've done it quite a few times, or just feeling ambitious anyway, just give it a toss like that. It's a kind of a forward, up and back motion. But don't worry if you can't, because you can just scoop it around anyway. It just kind of looks flash. But I guess it is quite an efficient way of moving the rice around the wok. So, because basically you don't want it, you want it to be cooking really quickly, but not have it burning. So you've got to move it around all the time. So I'll probably add a bit more salt to that. Just so much. And add rest of the egg, and what you find it does if you put egg in at this kind of point, which some people just do all the egg, is that it kind of binds it together and becomes, well, I mean obviously not like a rice omelette, but you kind of get that sort of effect, a bit more subtle throughout the rice, and I kind of quite like this. Now you add the soy sauce, the kind of dark soy sauce is kind of more sweet really, and well, obviously darker, so just put a bit of light sauce in like that, and keep on stirring it, and then to finish off just add the sesame oil, about that much, and then the green bits of the spring onions, and then just give it a kind of a few more cycles on the old tossing. I think that's pretty much there now. Got most of the major lumps out. And all I've got to do is just dish it up. Yes. top quality fried rice, man.